Good day, YouTube. It's the 31st of August. Yep, 2024. Autumn and I are out here at the shop. Aren't we, Autumn Bear? Autumn, can you say hi, everybody? Say hi, everybody. Yeah. She's my girl today. Every time she comes out here, things just go better. I don't know what to say, but it's true. This is my 2008 Yamaha G29 gas golf cart. Picked it up a little bit ago. Got a couple videos out on it. The last video went through the fuel system because it runs like garbage and it's very noisy. I thought it had a muffler issue. And then once we got through the fuel system, we realized we got way bigger issues than just a fuel system. And so I had a little bit of time today. I have a birthday party to go to, and I'm going to the races tonight. So I started digging into this thing a little bit. Pull the exhaust off. There's just one support bolt on the bottom and two off the head. And the exhaust is in really good condition. There is no noise coming from this exhaust, which is nice because that's $300 and some muffler. And these are nice and quiet. So I dug further and took the plastic shroud off, which is just some 8 and 10 millimeter nuts to reveal. Pull the valve cover off. It's very dirty in there. Do you see an issue? There's two. Do you see an issue yet? I've not put a wrench on it since I pulled the shroud and the valve cover off. Do you see an issue yet? There's two. Look at that head bolt. There's never been a wrench on it. It's finger tight. It's a 1/4 inch gap. There's nothing holding the head on. And then look at all this blackness. That's where the compression was escaping. I can't believe it ran. If I can scrape some off. It's black, isn't it? And of course everything is dirty. I don't want to get it in the engine, but so we got to pop this head off of here. Finish taking the carburetor off. It was just temporary on anyway. And then we're going to reveal just how bad this head was leaking. But we sure know why it was leaking. I mean, holy smokes. But, I mean, it wasn't hard to get it to this point. And head gasket's certainly not expensive. They're very available. I think we need to adjust the valves a little bit. But they're not horrible, but they're not good. So, yeah. I'll kind of come in and film a little bit here and there, but this is in a really awkward place for filming, both from a space perspective and lighting and stuff. But I'll kind of narrate on the way through here as I get to a better point. The other thing to note too is look at the driven pulley. You can see little windows. Little windows. That thing is completely wore out. Wore out all the way through, so that's no good. So we need to put a driven pulley on it and a drive pulley, drive clutch. I got one. And I bought the tool. The tool's still sitting over here because I didn't put it away. I needed to have a good spot to put it, but that's the tool to remove the clutch. And then I can't remember how to do the drive pulley. I've never done one, but I was prepared on my last Yamaha cart. So, guys and gals, I'm going to pull this head. And I'll bring you back in and show you just what we're dealing with. And this thing should be relatively easy. I think the engine's in good shape. Obviously, we have a loose head bolt. really loose. This thing's been running a while. I noted the air cleaners somebody put in. Oops, sorry, my compressor kicked on. 3 of 23. Compressor's done. So like I was saying, I'll finish pulling this head. I'll show you what we got. We'll check it for flatness. We'll tape a piece of sandpaper down on my steel table and kind of surface it, show you kind of how I do that. It'll certainly tell us if there's a warp or anything we need to be concerned with, but I think we're going to be okay. So I think at the moment I'm going to sit and order parts. There's no doubt that there's a head gasket issue. Get the pulley coming, a couple belts, replace them both while we're at it, and there's probably a head gasket kit to give me exhaust, although that gasket looks good, but I like to wonder how old it is. It's not very old. Anyway, we'll put a new one on it because we're this far. And the valve cover was just siliconed on, so we'll see if there's a valve cover gasket available. Alright, cool. So pretty happy about what I have found, because it's just glaring, you know, what's going on. And it's a relatively easy fix, relatively inexpensive fix. So, alright, I'll bring you back when I have something better to show you. Alright, just took a second, pop that head off of there. And you can look at the area around where the bolt was not tight. And you can tell there's some issues going on there. I got the head sitting over on the bench. Got the head sitting over here at the bench, and most of that gasket right up there where the bolt was loose is gone. It's missing in action. It's been gone for a while. They've been running it like this for a while. Yeah, certainly have. Hopefully yeah, I don't think there's any damage in the head, but you can sure see all the exhaust that's been coming through here. And like I said, it was noisy. If you go back to the early videos, I don't know if you could really tell from the microphone on my camera while sitting on the seat, but you could certainly tell it, as we did when the guy that I bought it from loaded it. So just keep in mind, we knew there was an issue with this cart. We bought it super cheap, okay? It was not going to be something you just wax and sell. So this is expected, you know, that there'd be a repair, and buying golf carts that, you know, already work good makes for poor videos. So we got a head gasket issue. I'm gonna get online and get all these parts ordered and get them coming, so that, by golly, we can put this thing back together here pretty soon. We'll get that engine cleaned up a little bit, and yeah, we'll have it. No big deal. All right, guys, catch you in a little bit. All right, guys, it's the next day. I have knocked a bunch of dirt off of this thing. We're gonna get it in the parts cleaner. Kind of let it soak tonight, I think. Get it nice and clean, and then tomorrow we can kind of sand this down a little bit. So this is the area where it was leaking, and it's got a few defects in here for sure. What we'll do is tape a piece of sandpaper. Where did I put that? Oh, it's over here. I'll tape it down onto my steel table like this, and then just kind of sand away on it. Make it nice and flat. It'll reveal anything that's an issue, or we'll just sand everything out. So this will work good. But it was so dirty, I would just get my sandpaper so dirty it wouldn't be effective. So let's get this thing in the parts cleaner. We'll let it soak all night. We'll grab it up tomorrow and put a face on this thing. The head gasket is supposed to also be here tomorrow. So this is Labor Day weekend. It's Sunday. Tomorrow's Monday. The gasket set should be here tomorrow. here we go. Right, it's the next day. I've been cleaning parts. Can you tell? Yep, I got some stuff in the parts washer still. So I put in yesterday. Let me turn some lights on. I let them soak all night, but I don't run my parts washer all night. Just let them soak. I have a really cool heated parts washer. So if I anticipate, cleaning up parts and such, I got to turn the heater on, an hour or so ahead of time and such. So did that this morning. I got some stuff in here, kind of cooking. Let's drag it out and see what we got. I use Zep degreaser in my parts cleaner. And a heated parts cleaner is a game changer, okay? You might want to, have a look at that. It's pretty cool. There's a little bit of dirt here and there. You don't have to make it perfect. It'll make it nice. So I got the plastic tins, the engine covers in here. They're totally caked on. That's the residue I just showed you. But I got to get a little bit around that spark plug. But if it stayed in here for a little while longer, another hour or so, she'd be spotless. But good enough for what we're building here. Let me get just a little more. Could have pulled that spark plug out and made that stuff easier to get at. Alright, stay in here and cook. Alright, so I did rinse it off with the hose there a little bit. She's looking good, as good as it needs to be. Okay, I cleaned up this other side. We're going to let this thing dry just a little bit, and then we're going to go over and sand it down. I've got the block clean. Everything looks great. Just waiting for head gasket now from Amazon. Alright, that's about as cleaned up as it's going to get. Now we're going to go see about this surface area. There was a few rough spots. I actually don't feel bad now, but there was a few rough spots, so we definitely need to check it, seeing how bad that head gasket was. Alright, this is 220 sandpaper. It's kind of taped to my table. We're going to set this flat down. We're going to move it around. Very light pressure. I did lightly sand the table down before I put the sandpaper down, in case there was a bump or something. You don't want that transferred up. Look at that. See, I got just a little bit going on here, and that is what I was worried about. It's not too bad. We're going to keep going. We're going to make this better. Alright, got just a little bit to go right there, but it's looking good. The sealing surface is good. This is just around the bolt hole. Okay. And that will do it. See how nice that turned out? Take it to a machine shop. You can pay them $100 and it won't look any better than that. Cool. Now all we need is a gasket. I'm going to go clean this up, kind of spray it down, wipe it down, wait for a head gasket to arrive. Here we go. Alright, I had a few things to do, but got those done, and just like that, my gasket set showed up. Thank you, Amazon. Said by 3:15, and by golly, you made it. So I got the head gasket out. Looks good. I got it sitting on the head with the bolts in. I think that'd be the best way to make sure everything gets aligned and we don't mess that new gasket up, and etc. Little fuzz. Got all the miscellaneous parts cleaned up, head bolts cleaned up, the plastic tins cleaned up. I'm going to try to set you here. Hope that's a good spot. And I'll try to set that head on nice and careful like. Turn a light on. Everything should be good to go. We'll put this thing back together and hear it run. Hear it run right. Okay. Okay. Gonna try it from underneath. I think we'll tighten these head bolts all the way this time. I bet it lasts longer. So the torque specs say initial torque 14 foot-pounds and then torque to 18 foot-pounds. We'll probably convert that to inch-pounds because of its you're going to be a little more accurate than that low of a pound setting on a foot-pound torque wrench. So, you know, inch-pound is just a times 12 from a foot-pound. So 14 times 12, that'd be what, 144 plus 24 would be 168 inch-pounds. Yeah. I got to get those push rods in there too. Gonna have to before I torque this head down, let's get those push rods in, shall we? I kind of took them out when I pulled the head and was questioning how I'd get those in or out. So let's stop there. We just wipe this down real quick. And go for it. Make sure that they go in there okay. Because I could still lift the head off even just a little bit. Alright, let me fiddle with this because I'm just going to block your view anyway. So just so you know, because it might be a shortcut for you, again, I've left the head bolts loose. In fact, I went back and loosened this front corner one up a little more so I could lift the head a little bit, slide the push rod right in, and lifted the head and then set it under the rocker arm, which means my valve lash is going to be close. It will be close enough to start the engine with anyway. I mean, I'll check it, make sure that there is lash, and then we can set the valves. But anyway, maybe you can see something, maybe you can't. So I'm going to slide this push rod back in. I'm going to slide it in, if it will go. There is not a lot of room on this side. It's the intake push rod. Whoa. That feels good. I'm going to lift the head slightly. There. Now we can snug up the head bolts. And the push rods are in. So, I'm starting to like these Yamaha engines. This is as in-depth as I've gotten one so far. And it's been easy to work on. Okay, let me get this tight and we'll get a torque wrench out, get it set and ready. All right, so just tightening the head bolts, just tighten them with a ratchet. I'm just going around them and giving them a little, getting them as even as I can. I don't really find a procedure, but this is a generalization procedure. Don't reef any of one of them down tight. Take a minute. You'll be glad you did. Okay, it's going to be torque wrench time now. Okay, what'd I say? 168 inch-pounds. All right, let me get that ready. All right, 168 inch-pounds. It was kind of already there. Yep. With my ratchet, and then 18 foot-pounds, 18 times 12, so I think that's 216 if I did it in my head correctly. I got to step out in the sun and set my torque wrench though. So 200 16. There we go. Couldn't see it in here. Clicky clicky. We'll go across. Clicky clicky, double check. Okay. Head is torqued. All right, let me get some smalls on. We'll slide that carburetor on. We'll get the exhaust back on, and etc. And it won't be too long. We'll put fire in the hole. Here we go. All right, it is back together, boys and girls. This thing is nice to work on. It really is. It's a well-engineered Yamaha. Thumbs up, boys and girls. Full disclosure, I had to take the head back off. I forgot to put the two dowels in. So I didn't have it. I mean, it wasn't long past when I stopped the video. Luckily, but I remembered, thank goodness. So just popped it off, put them in, retorqued it, good to go. The valves have lash. They're probably loose. We can spin the engine with the clutch. So right now the exhaust valve's closed, so the intake valve is something you can set. There's probably 25 thousandths there, 20 thousandths anyway. It probably should be like 6. We'll let the intake valve open, exhaust, it's got about the same. You know, they're in that 15, 20 thousandths. I'll set them after I run it. I haven't put the valve cover on, and I haven't put this, there's this rubber gasket thing that goes around the exhaust. It seems like it's a pain, so just in case I haven't put it on yet either. Nor have I put the airbox on, because you got to take the airbox off to adjust the valves. So I just used some nuts and washers to bolt the carburetor on. So I had about maybe 1.5 gallons of non-ethanol fuel, and now I've set my cans by the door because I got to go get some. I can't run out of that stuff. I use my generators every week, so nothing but non-ethanol goes in. Any of my generators or power equipment stuff might sit for a minute. So I'm sure the fuel lines are empty, carb's empty. We're gonna have to crank it. Excuse me. We're gonna have to crank it to get fuel, and then it should start. Okay, we're in neutral. Keys on. And I've got oil in it. All right, here we go. I'm watching the fuel filter for fuel. Nothing yet. It is flowing fuel. It's taking a minute there. I think I see it flowing fuel, but it's kind of slow. Let's try to give it some help. I'm looking for starter fluid. There it is. Or did I already have it out? I already had it out. It's right here. Ooh, it's empty. Empty. Almost. I might have to prime this a little bit. It's getting some. I'm going to choke it while I'm doing it. Okay. Well, it runs. It runs. Not sure. I think it runs fine, but I'm gonna have to run those valves. I have to look up the valve settings. It's usually like 5-6 thousandths on the intake and 7 or 8 on the exhaust for something like this. We're not getting fuel, any volume out of that tank just yet. Getting some though. I did put that fuel pump on there, but that fuel pump has been on the shelf for a minute, and it was the last new one that I had, and I did order 3 more, and they are here. So if it gives me any crap, straight in the bin. Okay, let me fiddle with this for a minute, get those valves adjusted, and then we can put the airbox back on. That will probably help its runnability and make it quieter and such. But anyway, we're heading in the right direction. Here we go. All right, I was not going to show you valve adjustment. I figured there's a bunch of videos out there already on it, but I happened to look at one because I was trying to get the valve clearance spec, which evidently is 6 thousandths, and which was about what I said. And some people just try to make things difficult. and I try to make things simple. So when should you adjust the exhaust valve? When should you adjust the intake valve? Exhaust valve's over here because the muffler's here. The carburetor's over here, so this is the intake valve here. Okay, I've already adjusted the exhaust valve. When and where should the piston be and the valves be to adjust the intake valve? Well, if you close or mostly close the exhaust valve, there's that stupid horn button. If you close or mostly close the exhaust valve, then the intake valve, excuse me, open. Let me back up. If you open the exhaust valve or mostly open the exhaust valve just by turning the engine, right, like this, here we go, then the intake valve is closed, okay, for like a whole revolution. It just, people say, gotta take the spark plug out, bring it up top dead center, blah, blah, blah. No, you don't. Just open one valve, adjust the other. Open that valve, adjust the other one, and you're done. Takes an 8mm wrench to open or to loosen the jam nut. The 6/1000 feeder gauge is just sloppy loose in there. We knew that, mentioned that. We're going to just put the feeder gauge in and we're going to tighten the screw until we get a drag on my feeder gauge. I'm just doing it by hand, right? I got a good drag on the feeder gauge. Now, if we can tighten up this lock nut with the 8mm wrench without tightening up the adjustment screw, bingo. Valves are done. It just takes a minute. It takes more time to bring it up to top dead center than it's worth. So anyway, I'm going to put the valve cover on now. And then I'm going to put this rubber boot on. Then I'm going to put the air cleaner on. And we're going to call this job done. And we're going to go test drive this son of a gun. How do you like those apples? Alright, got everything put together. I changed fuel pump. I'm not sure if it really needed it or not. But we did it anyway. So yeah, it fires right up, no choke. Yep, that clutch is done. Let's throw the seat on because it gets rid of some of that obnoxious noise, especially the clutch noise. Okay. All I gotta do is put this rubber thing on, but the exhaust is too hot to work with it. Do it tomorrow. And we'll test drive it tomorrow. Key on. Alright. That's a good day's work, I think, boys and girls. Alright, we'll catch you tomorrow. Alright, boys and girls, it is the next day. I pulled that seat off and put that rubber boot around the exhaust. Pretty easy. I also pulled the dipstick, so I just put fresh oil in this thing. You know, it hasn't left the shop. It's already got a ton of color in it. So we're going to have to change this oil a couple times. Get that thing clean. It's very important to me to have good, clean oil in these things. When they get like that, you just got to replace it. Man, I don't really go by miles on some of my cars, the ones that I service. Now, I'll be straight up. I don't service all my cars. I service my daily drivers kind of thing, and my older vehicles. But you know, the modern ones, I'm just letting Quick Lubes do that. But yeah, I just check the oil. If the oil's getting black, then it's time to change it. So I don't care how many miles it has on it. So anyway, I think we're going to put the seat back on. We're going to take this thing for a little drive. What do you think? Here we go. You remember how bad this, excuse me, how bad this thing ran. Just getting it in here, had to keep the choke all the way out and all that stuff with that bad head gasket. Let's see how she does now. If I can get out of the shop. Is that hitting anything? Oh, fires right up. But remember, this thing's got a really crappy clutch in it. She's really grabby. Okay. Well, the roof's really rattly. Runs good though. Clutch. I can't believe it works at all. You saw how wore out it is. Okay, we're floored, so we're at like 13. I don't have a speedometer working at the moment. Clutch is so noisy and grabby. Alright. But we got her running good, boys and girls. We get rid of a bunch of these rattles and get a decent clutch assembly on this thing. Be awesome. Brake check. Oh, this is my red tracker losing coolant. The radiator's shot. I've been driving it anyway, just topping off the coolant, but leave this out for now. My little girl, my puppy, nah, she's not really a puppy anymore, she's 8 or 9 years old. She likes to ride in a golf cart. We might have to go for a ride in a golf cart. Okay, well, guys, head gasket in a Yamaha G29. Who'da thunk? Well, I was pretty sure it had issues like that. Now we just got to sort the rest of it out, so we'll just take this thing one bite at a time. And like I said, I have the front drive clutch. I don't have a driven clutch. I do have it sitting in my shopping cart on Amazon. The gasket set I got for this also on Amazon, as I mentioned. It's like 20 bucks or so. Was happy with that. Came well packaged, well boxed and everything. And yeah, we got to do the other side of the black restoration. I did this one on a video. Came out really nice. And I got to figure out what I'm gonna do for tires, and you know, get the thing cleaned up and so forth. I have this boot. I put it in my car when I picked this up. Oh yeah. Everything is floppy loose and super noisy. So we got to go around and tighten all this stuff up. So piece of cake, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. All right, guys, thanks for watching the video. Please give it a thumbs up on the way out. Watch another video, share it with a friend, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Subscribe if you haven't. We got some more work to do on this. Got some more work to do on that. We got some more stuff to do. See you on the next one.